Go.
Okay. My name is David Wellens, and Jim Warshower has asked me to assess this flute. I was the tester and then head joint cutter and voicer at the William S. Haynes Company for about 20 years, so I have an overview of what their different model of flutes are and how those different models perform. Here I have a standard model. Jim's looked up the number and says it was made sometime around 1961. These flutes are a heavy tube flute. That is, the wall of the flute tube is 18 thousandths. That's about as heavy as flutes get. You can find older flutes that are heavier than that, but in modern flutes, that's the heaviest. It has a very dark sound because of that, and is resistant also because of that. This flute was made to be a very forgiving flute. It wasn't the top of their line, the so-called handmade. However, it was made by the same hands that made the top model flute, so that's a little bit of a misnomer there. But the design of the flute, the scale, and the head joint is designed to be very forgiving. And as you'll hear, it has a very rich, very solid core to the sound. And the articulation is also quite good, and that can be a problem when you get into a thicker tube flute, that it tends to be a little bit sluggish. It's a trade-off. You're getting more core to the sound, but many times you're sacrificing the response of the instrument. But this particular head joint on this particular body seems to be pretty quick. Also, the high register can be a problem, especially with the thicker tube flutes. But again, the match of this head joint to this body seems to be all right. It seems to be very balanced between all the registers. I would recommend this flute if you're looking for something that's solid and has a fairly large sweet spot. This isn't a flute that I'm used to at all, and all I'm doing is really basically throwing air at it and it's taking it. There's also another thing about Haynes flutes in general. Up to about 2003, all of the keys were drop forged. Once a Haynes flute is in mechanical adjustment, that's where it stays. The pads might need tweaking, but the keys themselves are extremely stable. I hope that answers any questions